Welcome back to the Algarve. No pretty scenery today, I'm afraid, just a run through the 40 modifications I've made to my 2022 Speed Twin in the first 2 weeks of ownership. Some of these mods might seem a bit tenuous, perhaps tweaks would be more appropriate, but there are 40 of them and all the appropriate links are in the description. All concern my Speed Twin, but many also apply or could be adapted to other bikes, so I'm sure there's something in this video for everyone. So in more or less chronological order, this is what I've done so far. Now, as part of the deal with Triumph Algarve, I was given €500 credit to spend on any original parts and accessories from the Triumph catalogue. If I'm honest, with the possible exception of the radiator guard, I probably wouldn't have bought any of them with my own money, as they're mostly trinkets, but as I had to spend the €500 credit, I went with Number 1, chrome tyre valve caps. Not a whole lot more I can say about those really, is there? So let's move on. Number 2, the radiator guard. I probably would have bought this because I like the fact that there's no logo on it, and compared to many aftermarket guards, it doesn't restrict airflow too much. I've noticed the Speed Twin's engine does get quite hot and the fan comes on almost as soon as I stop, so I think good airflow is important. Number 3, the metal chain guard. This in fact is the original plastic guard that I had to put back on, because I've asked my dealer to swap this silver one for the black metal version, because as you can see, the silver one has got a bluish tint to it and doesn't match any of the rest of the bike. Number 4, the oil cap from Tech Parts. The original cap is plastic, and I like the way this Tech cap matches the cooling fins on the engine. Number 5, the clutch cover badge. The original one is silver, and I wanted to keep the engine black. Number 6, the front brake reservoir. Looks a bit nicer than the standard plastic reservoir, although the tiny observation window means it's harder to see the level at a glance, and probably for legal reasons there's still the warning message about using the correct brake fluid printed in white lettering around the side. Number 7, the rear wheel adjuster, possibly the most pointless accessory from the Triumph catalogue. These barely visible black adjusters to replace the otherwise identical silver ones used in the factory. As I said, I had to spend €500. Number 8, tank grips. I got these from Motorbike customers in the UK, both to provide better grip for my knees and protect the fragile matte paint. 2 models available, plain and this Union Jack version. Expensive but excellent quality. Opening the box you can smell the rubber and they give really excellent grip. They are quite thick though, so you do need to be aware that they'll make the tank feel about 2 centimeters broader between your legs. Number 9, screen protectors from Speedo Angels, all but invisible, so nothing to see here, but they do offer protection against scratches to the plastic clock faces. Number 10, Triumph tank pad. My dealer kindly threw this in to offset the extra I had to pay for the premium grey paint scheme I ended up going for over the gloss black that I'd originally ordered. A more or less compulsory accessory when you've got matte paint to stop it being polished by the constant rubbing. Number 11, RocketMan sticker on the fly screen, more of which in a moment. Please note these are not available for sale. RocketMan does not do merch. Number 12, perhaps the most significant mod of all, the rear shocks. Now the factory shocks do a reasonable job, but they just look so cheap in comparison to the rest of the bike, and when I saw that I could literally flex the upper cap using my fingers, I knew they'd have to go. There's a broad price range for replacement suspension parts. Tech Parts in the UK does offer a decent budget product, but I didn't want to replace cheap shocks with only slightly less cheap shocks. Öhlins and Nitron both offer exquisite quality rear shocks, of course, but spending the best part of €1,000 for something that looked nice, but which most people probably wouldn't even notice, wasn't an option. So I went with these YSS models, which are kind of the halfway house option, and I'm happy with how they look and how they perform. I'll wait until they've bedded in a bit and then dial in a bit more softness because they are quite firm, but other than that, I'm very pleased with them. Number 13, the headlight fairing. Many people go with a fly screen from Dart, but I find that even their smallest model, the Piranha, is too tall. I wasn't really looking for wind protection, more a way of protecting the clocks, offering a tiny bit of aerodynamics, and somewhere to stick the remote for the garage door. So I went with the brushed aluminium screen, the black version by Rizoma. It's quite expensive, especially once you've added the separate mounting bracket, but it's excellent quality, and they even provide nice titanium bolts, and it does look almost factory. Number 14, black fork reflectors. Side reflectors are compulsory here in Europe at least, but they're orange of course and look terrible, so I removed them and put these on. Maybe not 100% legal, I'm not sure, but at least I've made the effort. Number 15, the Denali Mini Sound Bomb. I haven't actually got around to installing this yet, but I fitted them to many bikes, and there's a straight plug and play swap for the factory horn. It gives a deep car horn note instead of the pathetic pushchair meep of the original. Number 16, brake and clutch levers. Didn't think too much to the cheap and awkward looking silver levers, so I put these adjustable black levers on from Tech Parts again in the UK. Nicer feel, and I think they look smarter than the originals. Number 17, the tail tidy. Again, I went with Tech Parts, mainly because I could reuse the original rear reflector from the bike. Good quality powder coated metal that just tidies up the rear a bit. Only slight downside is that you can't adjust the angle of the plate. Number 18, infamous grip puppies. I put these on all my bikes, as you know. They're a bit of a Marmite thing, I know. You either love them or hate them. I happen to love them as they fatten up the grips, which suits my large hands, and they also reduce vibration. Always welcome, even if the Speed Twin doesn't really suffer from buzziness. Number 19, tail bag. Now I like this bag from UK firm Auto Kicker because it's so compact. Enough space for a short day trip, sunglasses, face mask, toolkit, hand sanitizer, wallet, etc. And it fits on the back of the Speed Twin seat without looking too out of place. Number 20, this magnetic tank bag is what I usually run with though, for the simple reason that it can be removed and put back on the tank so easily. The magnets don't seem that strong, so I did wonder when I first got it if the wind wouldn't pull it off at higher speeds, but I've never had a problem. Similar capacity to the Auto Kicker tail bag, but removing and refitting is a doddle, as you can see, even with the strange off-center fuel filler cap on the Speed Twin. 21. If I'm venturing a bit farther, I take this larger ion bag from SW Motec, plenty of room for the aforementioned knickknacks, plus camera equipment, sandwich, drink, gloves, etc. And it can be expanded by unzipping the base, so I guess at a pinch it could carry a change of clothes and a toothbrush for an overnight stay, although I've never tried. Number 22, new dials for the clocks. You may have seen that the Missenden Flyer performed a similar cosmetic surgery on his 2019 Speed Twin, and indeed that's where I first got the idea from, so thanks for that, Andy. The overly fussy and inexplicably asymmetric design of the originals was playing havoc with my OCD, so I swapped them out for these much more sober and stylish, in my opinion, dials from Art & Works. You need to dismantle the instrument cluster, of course, but it was less complicated than I'd feared, and I'm happy with the result. I'll put a link to TMF's video in the description too. Number 23, a mini toolkit. Like on many modern bikes, space under the seat on the Speed Twin is almost non-existent, so I made my own tiny emergency toolkit, wrapped it in a bit of cloth, and managed to find a place it would fit. Miniature multi-tool, phone charger, and a couple of cable ties. So if your gearbox falls out, it won't be much use, but it's better than nothing. Number 24, garage door opener. We currently live in a condominium with a couple of motorized doors and gates, so velcroing a spare remote to the rear of the fly screen means I can press the button as I ride up rather than having to stop and fish around in my jacket pockets for the remote. Number 25, battery charger fly lead. Now you don't need me to tell you that it's always advisable to keep your bike plugged into a trickle charger when you're not using it. This handy fly lead is permanently connected to the battery terminals and hangs down under the seat so that you can plug it in easily when you get back to your garage. Number 26, rear bobbins. No centre stand on the Speed Twin means that regular chain lubrication, for example, requires the use of a paddock stand. These Triumph bobbins were part of the €500 sweetener. Number 27, the GPS tracker. Now obviously I'm not going to show you this on my bike, but here's a stock photo of what it looks like. I use these Invoxia trackers because the subscription is very cheap. The first 2 years are free, and then I think it's just €10 a year. You may see that the Amazon reviews are mixed, and I believe this is because the tracking network that Invoxia uses is not completely compatible with every country. It works fine here in Portugal, but I would advise that you check before you buy. Number 28, leather key cover. I bought this for my Trident originally, but the Speed Twin uses exactly the same key design, so I hung on to it. Not really a mod, I know, but I had so many queries in the comments in previous videos about where I'd bought it that I thought I'd include it here too. Number 29, tank protector film. As I mentioned, I originally ordered a gloss black Speed Twin and had intended putting some clear gloss vinyl on the tank to protect it. Can't really do that on matte paint, so if anyone knows of a vinyl that will keep the matte look, please sing out in the comments. Number 30, disc lock. Now we're lucky in Portugal because it's one of the world's safest countries, but I do occasionally like to use a bit of extra security. This small 6mm lock from Urban fits the bill as it's light and compact, and the 6mm pin, while not being massively secure, makes it compatible with just about every bike and even my scooter. Slip the lock on, rear wheel if possible, because a would-be thief will find it more difficult to remove than the front wheel, and then press the button if you want the added peace of mind of an alarm. Cheap, simple, does the job. Number 31, LED headlight bulb. The Speed Twin comes with a nice modern LED daytime running light, but a nasty yellow incandescent bulb. Triumph tried to jazz it up a bit by using one of those blue tinted casings, but it was still too yellow. These bulbs are plug and play and fit the housing perfectly. The beam pattern, probably not as good as the halogen bulb, I don't know because I haven't tried it, but I never ride at night anyway, so it's not really an issue for me. I wanted a higher temperature light and instant on-off you get from an LED, so as to be seen better by car drivers. Number 32, fuel filler cap rotate. This is another mod on my to-do list, I'm afraid, but I have seen a video on YouTube explaining how to rotate the cap through 180 degrees to make filling up with fuel easier, and I'm going to do it soon. Number 33, carbon fibre mud guards. I was initially loath to do this because the factory guards are very nice brushed aluminium, but in my quest to add more black, I thought I would go all out and buy some genuine carbon fibre guards. Unfortunately, because the 2022 Speed Twin has different front forks to the previous generation and therefore a different mounting bracket, it's not compatible, and a front mudguard for the 2022 is still under development. Number 34, stickers. We all like stickers. I read in the French press that the new wheels for the 2022 are actually made by Dimag. That was good enough for me. I ordered these rim stickers both to add a touch of colour to an otherwise monochromatic motorcycle and also to make it easier to find the valves to check tyre pressures. Number 35, throttle spacers. There was a bit of play in the throttle, so I added the effective but horrendously expensive for what they are plastic spacers inside the throttle housing. They have improved things, but the low speed fueling still isn't perfect. 36, seat pillion strap. Not much to this. Turn over the seat and unbolt. I rarely take Mrs. RocketMan on the back, and when I do, she tends to hold on to me rather than the seat. Not having it also makes it easier for me to shuffle backwards a couple of inches to stretch my legs while riding. Number 37, sat-nav. Only turn-by-turn navigation, but it's better than nothing. It's a bit hard to read while riding, A, because it's so small, though this could be my age, and B, because the display is difficult to see in bright sunshine. I'd rather use this than strap an expensive smartphone to the constantly vibrating handlebar, though. I've heard this can ruin the image stabilization systems in modern phones. Number 38, silver tank strips. Now, Triumph's decision to slap some modern high-vis yellow stripes on the tank of an otherwise classic-looking motorcycle is questionable, to say the least. They did grow on me, sort of, but after experimenting with these brushed aluminium effect vinyl strips that I had in the garage, I quite like the result, so I'll keep them on for the moment. What do you think? Original yellow or RocketMan silver? Let me know in the comments. Number 39, lever adjustment. Many owners forget to do this, but it's one of the simplest and most rewarding mods that you can do on any bike. Manufacturers tend to set the levers up for a sporty riding position, but they're too high for many people, myself included. Loosening these bolts and rotating the levers down, even by only a centimetre or so, means that your wrists remain in line with your forearms, making for a more relaxed ride. And finally, number 40. Unfortunately, number 40 hadn't arrived at the time of filming, but here's a photo of them. These lovely bar-end mirrors are originally designed for the Triumph Rocket and compatible with the Speed Twin. They're annoyingly expensive, especially as the actual mirror part is virtually identical to the stock mirrors I already have, but they should finish off the bike nicely, and as we say in French, quand on aime, on ne compte pas. Hope you enjoyed this run through the changes I've made so far. I'm not sure if there'll be many more, but if there are, I'll be sure to let you know. And remember, all the links are in the description. As always, thanks for watching.